Hey guys, Dev with Crime Hive, and we're just taking a step away from some of the other cases that I'm following and working right now. But just wanted to kind of just share this one video. This is something that was just really interesting that Dutch police discovered. They actually raided this area and they found a torture chamber that it was a drug raid initially, but they found out the people involved, there were 6 detained, were kidnappers and had taken victims hostage, and they had this elaborate area with a torture chamber. So we're going to just talk about that a little bit. It's just a really crazy story, and that's just what we're going to get into with this. So just to give you a better idea of what it is, I'm going to show you a little video first I just found on CNN, and then we'll just kind of discuss it. And before I do, again, Dev with Crime Hive, if you like these kind of videos, I do a lot of insights on true crime and other videos related to true crime like this. So if you like those kind of videos, just hit that subscribe button, and we're going to get into this right now. So the video I want to share, I'm going to get this big here, and then I'm going to minimize myself here. And just to give you an idea here, so if you guys want to turn up your volume, since I'm doing this live, you may have to listen, and it might be a little bit lower volume. So here we go, just to give you guys a better idea of what this is all about. So it's a hidden torture site they found in these shipping containers. Okay, so they actually raided it. You can see the containers there. I just wanted to give you guys a better visual of it. This is what they look like. And there were actually 7 of them. 1 was used as this torture chamber. 6, they think, were used to hold prisoners. They found handcuffs to the floor and the ceiling. A dentist chair in there. That's pretty crazy. And we're going to talk about some of this stuff. Some of the equipment that was found, some of the items that were found to torture the potential victims involved. So that's what we're looking at here. And they used an encrypted chat network, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, what this network is. This is something that was new to me, and I'd like to hear your guys' insights as well as we talk about it. So that's kind of what we're looking at today with this case. Now, just to give you guys a better idea of where this takes place, I just pulled up a map here, and you've got Belgium here, Netherlands, and then just to give you a better idea, it's in this small town, or I can't even say it. You know how I am with names sometimes when I say these names, but it's called Wels Plantage, something like that. I'm not even sure how to say it, but it takes place right here. Gives you an idea of where it's at. Now, a couple things I want to talk about with it, and so this chamber right here, this area, apparently it was soundproofed, and they had a live video feed right here that would watch over the prisoners. Now, they called this room, apparently it was called the treatment room, and they just raided this, or this was just on June 22nd, apparently. So a couple other things I want to point out. So they did confiscate some MDMA, all right? We're looking at, let's see, police clothing, stolen vehicles, weapons. Apparently it's a pretty big organized crime syndicate, apparently. So they found a lot of things used to torture these people. And so what I want to talk about, though, is the chat room. So this was really interesting. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. It's called EncroChat, and apparently this is being used by a lot of these underground criminals, and it's basically what it is. It's an encrypted phone network that was widely used by criminals, especially used in Europe. So a lot of things that I have just discovered. Have you guys heard of this EncroChat? Have you guys heard anything about it? Pretty new to me. I know there's a lot of stuff out there, a lot of apps and so forth, but just to give you an idea of kind of how this works, as I was reading through this article, this just kind of gives you an idea. A couple things I wanted to mention. So still don't know the identities of the people that are running this, and a couple things that I wanted to point out about it. So what it is, okay, they basically have this phone. It's like an Android, so it's a modified Android device, okay, and it's its own network. This is a very secure network. Apparently, they guarantee that you're anonymous. No one can trace you. They've got aspects to it in here where they'll give you a PIN code that will delete all the messages on the device, and especially if someone's putting in the passwords repeatedly. So a lot of functions into it. So very high skilled people that have created this that focus on anonymity, and apparently a lot of people have been using this and getting away with a lot of different crimes until recently, when apparently law enforcement they hacked into it. So, and I'm not a tech guru or anything like that, but I'll explain what it shows in the article, but how they got into it. So apparently this company, Europol, one of the largest, said the company is one of the largest providers of encrypted digital communication. All right, really interesting. And then it's down here. They talk about how you could, how do you buy one, that sort of stuff. But I want to talk about how the authorities crack down on it, because that's what we're talking about. That's how they really got into finding this torture chamber. So what it was apparently is they, let's see where it's at here. Okay, so they were able to deploy some form of a technical implant on the network rather than break the encryption protecting the messages in transit. So that's apparently how they got into it, and they were able to infiltrate this. So they put some technical device in place. They didn't actually hack into the network, and apparently it worked. They were able to start figuring out these messages and the location of the messages, and that's what led to this raid. So just wanted to give you an update on that. Now, the devices that were found, or some of the items found used to torture these people, just to give you an idea, there was a whole list there, and I just kind of took little bits here. There was pruning shears. You had loppers. You had apparently they had little finger cuffs, little finger cuffs there that were used. There were pliers, there was handcuffs, there were balaclavas, there were scalpels, just all sorts of crazy things found. And of course you had that dentist chair. Now you can only imagine the type of torture that these people must have implemented. And so just to give you an idea of that, last thing I want to talk about briefly, just to give you an idea, is the 13 enhanced interrogation techniques that the CIA used on detainees. Now this comes from back, a couple of years ago. They had these programs, essentially, especially dealing with terrorism, and they were experimenting on these prisoners. And we've heard about some of these crazy methods, but just to give you an idea of what you're looking at here, one was the abdominal slap. Okay, that's just a particular physical technique they use. And there's the attention grasp, where they're just grabbing somebody with two hands by the collar. Then you've got the cramped confinement. Now that is pretty crazy. They're putting detainees in a very small space, in a box, something like that, for several hours. And so there's just a lot of psychological torture. The CIA have used dietary manipulation, switching from solid foods to liquid foods. Pretty crazy stuff. Then they talk about some other smaller physical ones, like the facial hold, the facial slap. Nudity is a big one. Just stripped of clothing, standing around nude for long periods of time. And then they also will put you in stress positions, which just cause discomfort. And they will, at one of these that's in this article here, is they would have somebody sit on the floor with their legs stretched out in front of them, and then they'd have their arms above their head. Or they'd have them kneel on the floor while leaning back at a 45-degree angle. So just crazy things like that. Sleep deprivation has been used for forever. I mean, it's just sleep deprivation can have just tremendous effect on people. Right here, just causes disturbing hallucinations. They apparently had kept detainees awake for up to 180 hours. The CIA had done this. So who could imagine what these underground criminal syndicates are doing, or what they're utilizing? But based on the tools found, I mean, it's not pleasant, obviously. Now, another thing they would do is wall standing. They would make them stand, face a wall, just psychological torture again. So they make them stand and have their fingers touching the wall and just stay there for a prolonged amount of time. They did a technique called walling, that they would just slam these detainees into the wall over and over again, and then subject them to waterboarding, which a lot of us have heard of it. Basically simulating drowning, just a horrible feeling over and over again to try to get information from these prisoners. So, and then the last one is water dousing. They would basically, just throwing ice and water over them, making them freeze, and just different methods of that. But that's the last technique that was mentioned in this article. So you can just imagine what must have happened. Pretty crazy stuff. And I wanted to make sure to at least give you guys a visual, just so you guys can really understand how severe this is, what we're really talking about. So anyway, hope you guys got some information out of this. I know it's not a very pleasant video. It's pretty disturbing. But I definitely want to give you guys the information of what's going on out there. Now, I'll definitely have other videos, again, covering the stories that I'm normally doing. And we'll be back with another video soon on that. But again, just wanted to take a break, do a video away from all that. And let me know your guys' thoughts. Comment below if you like these kind of videos. Again, I'm on the social platforms on Instagram at Crime Hive Now. And you guys can, again, subscribe if you guys like these. I'll be back again soon. This is Dev with Crime Hive. You guys take care.